The 2023 NBA regular season was the wildest I've seen in nearly 20 years of watching the league. I mean, look at what happened. LeBron broke the scoring record, the Kings had the best offense in over 40 years, Donovan Mitchell and Dame Time both scored 71 points in a game, then what else happened? Oh yeah, the biggest mid-season trade in NBA history with Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, then the epic collapse of Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. Sheesh, guys. Then, just when we all thought the surprises were going to stop and that expectations were going to fall back to earth, this happened.
Allen has it. Down the lane. He ran out of time. The Bucks don't get on the shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2023 NBA playoffs have been off the hook. And today, we're going to take a look at what losing in the first round means for each of these teams. First off are the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, before I start, I think it's safe to say that we all owe Jimmy Butler an apology. Everybody who's ever shot a basketball had the Bucks winning that series, but yet, Jimmy Buckets blocked out all the noise and did the unimaginable by leading his 8th-seeded team to an upset victory over the 1st seed. You know, a while ago, there were rumors and jokes that Michael Jordan is the actual father of Jimmy Butler, and while most of us laughed about that, I'm sure that as of right now, Giannis isn't, because he literally just got served. I mean, in Game 4, the Bucks had an 11-point lead going into the 4th and a 12-point lead with about 6 minutes left to go, yet they lost that game. Then in Game 5, the Bucks had a 16-point lead going into the 4th and a 4-point lead with just 14 seconds left on the game clock, but squandered that too. I can go on and on about the choke job that just happened, but I think I'll leave that for the person who does that best, Stephen A. Smith. The question I want to ask today is, what does this mean for Giannis and the Bucks? Well, first off, I'll start with Giannis. Because of the way they lost, the Greek Freak summer plans have already been set in motion. There should be no Cancun for the 2-time MVP this summer because this dude needs to lock himself into a gym and make 1,000 free throws a day until he can shoot better than 10 for 23. In Game 5, the Bucks lost by just 2 points, while Giannis shot 23 free throws and only made 10 of them. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I'm fired up about this is because any one of us can walk into a local rec center and find a 12 to 13-year-old kid who can shoot better than that. Sheesh. Anyway, next off are the Milwaukee Bucks as an organization. Their number one priority during the offseason is re-signing Brook Lopez. The 7-foot center is a huge reason, no pun intended, for why they were the number 1 seed in the East, and he's a huge part of their system. After that, their best bet is to run things back. Despite them collapsing like I've never seen, they'll still be a contender in 2024. Anyway, the Los Angeles Clippers are up next. Losing in the first round for these guys means only one thing. The whole Kawhi and PG-13 saga was a complete failure. Honestly, if I was Steve Ballmer, I'd be sick to my stomach. I mean, you're paying about $100 million a year for 2 players who are always load managing. And to make things worse, they're still always injured during the most important times of the season. Based on the ways the contracts are set up, the front office really has no choice but to run things back again next season. They should then find a way to re-sign Russell Westbrook, who led the team in that Sun series in total points, assists, steals, and blocks. Now, aside from that, the roster as superstars is deep and is well coached. In a parallel universe where injuries didn't exist, this might be a team with dynasty potential, but unfortunately, in our universe, they've become a meme. For 2024, they should run things back, then blow things up immediately afterwards. Next up are the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I'm never really high on Donovan Mitchell. He's always an amazing regular season player, as evident from his 71-point performance and his overall regular season statistics, but the thing is, he never fails to fall short in the playoffs. I mean, he couldn't get his Jazz team past a Kawhi-less Clippers a few years back. He couldn't take advantage of a Luka-less Mavericks last year. Then this year against the Knicks, he shot 29% from three-point range while taking 9 attempts per game. Anyway, on to the Cavaliers as a whole now. Now, this take might be a bit controversial, but the Cavs gotta trade either Mitchell or Garland for a bigger guard. While I may get a lot of hate for that statement, the truth is, the modern NBA has proven that teams can't win a championship with 2 small starting guards. I mean, if Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum couldn't get it done in almost a decade with the Trailblazers, what chances do the Cavs have? As good as both Mitchell and Garland are, they're both 6'1", and while that may be tall in the real world, in the NBA world, that's just too small to win anything substantial. But since the Cavaliers probably aren't going to change their backcourt anytime soon, they should really look into developing Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. If their two guards are too small, then their bigs have to be playing bigger, especially in the postseason. Anyway, next up are the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's easy to say that the Rudy Gobert trade was a big flop, but the truth is, two key members of their squad were out due to injuries. Both Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels are 6'9" beasts who stretch the floor, but unfortunately, they were both either injured during the regular season or in the play-ins. Again, it's easy to label the Rudy Gobert trade as an absolute failure, and while it may be, until we see this team function at full strength in the playoffs, it's too early to say anything. Re-signing Naz Reid should be the number one priority of the Timberwolves this offseason, and their number two priority should be to make sure none of their players punch any walls. From there, they should do nothing but run things back. The Brooklyn Nets are up next, and honestly, I don't know what to do with this team. They had Durant and Irving on this team, and at one point during the season, they were on a 12-game winning streak and had a good chance to become the number one seed in the East. But yet, the organization let them both go. The Brooklyn Nets failed this season because of pride. Their owner, Joe Tsai, had too much pride and butted heads with their superstars, and honestly, it doesn't matter whose fault it initially was. The truth is, your one singular goal with being an NBA owner is to win, and the chance was there, but they blew it. Going forward, while Mikal Bridges is a good piece, I don't see the Nets competing for anything. I mean, especially with Ben Simmons on the roster. Sheesh, guys. I sometimes forget Ben Simmons is still on their team. Anyway, to summarize the Nets situation, their best player is Mikal Bridges, while their highest paid player is Ben Simmons. Let me say that again. Their best player is Mikal Bridges, while their highest paid player is Ben Simmons. Ladies and gentlemen, the Brooklyn Nets front office are officially in trouble. And then after that, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, things don't look good for them. I mean, Dillon Brooks called themselves a dynasty, only to lose in the first round 2 years ago, the second round last year, and the first round this year. Sheesh. Talk about trash talk going wrong. This guy has been talking smack to everyone, including LeBron James, when he called him old. I gotta make another video on that, but anyway. What losing in the first round means is that presently constructed, they're simply not ready yet. Honestly and objectively, they gotta get rid of Dillon Brooks if they want to make a serious push in the 2024 playoffs. I don't care how good he is defensively, shooting 30% from the field and 21% from three-point range is going to get you nowhere fast. In the modern NBA, the inability to shoot threes makes you unplayable in most situations. Then when you combine that with being unable to efficiently score from inside the arc, you instantly become a liability. So that's the big decision the Grizzlies have to make during the offseason. I know he's a huge part of their current identity, but the numbers don't lie. Anyway, next up are the Atlanta Hawks. Truthfully, at this point, the Hawks are in trouble. Trae Young doesn't have a championship ceiling. He's too inefficient, and he turns the ball over too much. And yet, he's their franchise superstar, and the team is built around him. Bringing in DeJounte Murray might have seemed like a great pickup, but the thing is, he's picking on young teenage draft picks in summer pickup games, and he's bumping referees in actual games. While he is a great player with a boatload of talent, the question mark surrounding him is if he has the DNA to win at the highest levels. From what I've seen of the Hawks this year and in the past years, the talent isn't quite there. The championship attitude and culture aren't quite there, and whichever way you want to look at things, it looks messy. They're stuck in that middle ground situation where they can't go any higher, but they can't afford to break things up. Their best bet at the moment is to look for any disgruntled stars out there. And hey guys, I wonder who that could be. Wouldn't that be an insane duo to watch if they somehow did pair up? And then after that, I'll go over what losing in the first round means for the Sacramento Kings. So, losing in the first round against the Warriors is going to be a success for them. I mean, after 16 years of playoff drought, they were able to bring the trio of Steph, Klay, and Draymond down 0-2 in a playoff series and then force them to a Game 7 in the first round. That's a huge achievement, guys. They have no reasons to hang their heads low, and going forward, they should definitely run it back. De'Aaron Fox has proven to be a superstar, and his college teammate Malik Monk has proven to be a force off the bench. Then when it comes to Sabonis, aside from doing some Brazilian jiu-jitsu and grabbing ankles, he's had a really solid year. Build upon that experience for next year and don't get matched up with the Warriors in the first round, and they should be good.